Warren. You're listening to another episode of the SignatureCAST, where we talk bodybuilding, business, and everything in between. Today, we're in the Signature Fitness studio. CEO Warren Feldman is here, but most importantly, one of our top-tier members here, Kristie Keleshian, is in the house. From what I heard, a superstar on the news. But you know what? Let's hear it from her. Kristie, welcome. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling like a superstar. Thank you. I'm feeling wonderful. Thank you for that.
So how did you get into this whole news, media, and all that type of stuff?
So, yeah, there's this camp called Right on Sports Camp. It was started, I would say, like 2007. I was in middle school, and it was free. Only a few kids were picked for it. Of course, I was not picked for it. My brother was. I have a twin. He was picked for it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this is some elite camp that only he'll be doing over the summer, and my parents were going to be working, and I was going to be alone at home. But then my mom was just like, just do it. You know, we need both of you guys just there. Just, you know, come on. Just join this camp. They had one application left, and I was like, fine, I'll join. And then I just came to love it. It was a camp that taught us about sports writing, and I wasn't, at that time, I would consider myself, like, athletically challenged. I just could not, I couldn't do anything athletic. I didn't care much for sports or anything. I enjoyed writing. And that camp just really got me out of my comfort zone. It was a summer camp, 2 weeks, free, and that was the biggest part for my parents. It was easy for both, you know, having two kids. And it was great. I got to write about athletes and sports, and I got to write about competitive eating because I liked sumo wrestling.
Nice.
I chose any sport that was just not traditional. I didn't know anything about football or baseball. So it was really cool, and it made me excited to just write and interview people and go on camera and use a teleprompter, which was like unheard of for me in high school.
So cool.
It was so cool. We went to the high school in West Orange, and we had a great TV studio there. It's still there. And that's what we used. We used all that equipment over the summer. And it just, like, from there, the teachers were like, all right, when you go to high school, you have to take our class. Like, and it just started as fun. And then I realized, like, I really like this. It helped with my public speaking, my writing. It was just everything at once. And then from there, here we are.
And now, Warren, I believe we met Kristie during COVID for the first time?
She came to interview us when the gym was closed for 10 months during COVID, and it was a pleasure to meet her. We talked about what our expectations were going forward. We talked about our commitment to strengthen and improve the gym during that time frame, and we did that. We reopened, and we're really fortunate that Kristie is not only someone who we see on TV all the time. At 11 o'clock, I'll be sitting at home, and I'll see her talking about a fire, talking about a murder, talking about an incident. However, it's just great to have her at the gym now. She did a Spartan race recently. She'll tell you, she was on radio for a long time on CBS. She'll tell you, why don't you tell us where we see you on radio and TV. But it is great to have you at the gym as a member and to see you in the community so frequently.
Thank you, Warren. Yeah, this is my home. Essex County is my home. I'm from West Orange. And yeah, so that's actually, radio is where it all started here, because we were looking for a gym. The gyms were just slowly opening up during COVID. And I know this area, of course. I've been hearing about Signature Fitness for so long. And I also wanted to go somewhere that was like owned, like a privately owned gym, just like owned by a local, somebody who lives here, not just some big corporate gym. So I was like, oh, let me go to Signature Fitness that I've been hearing so much about. It's kind of an excuse to go in there and see, like, let me finally go in there and see what it's all about. So I called them, I called you guys, and then right away it was like, yeah, no, come here, come talk to us. I was like, thank goodness, I don't have to like run around and find different places. And I was like really happy it worked out, and it was wonderful talking to Warren and getting to see how fantastic the gym is, and how you guys really cleaned up during COVID. Every single, like, you had almost like the like Ghostbusters types of outfits, like like the backpack type of things with the
sprayers and everything.
The sprayers and vacuums and everything. So it started from there, and then at that time I was freelancing both at WCBS 880 and News 12. And then News 12, eventually there were more like regulations that were being lifted, and then I was working for News 12 at that day. And I was like, oh, let me go back to Signature and get an update just to see what it's like. And now we can show it on camera. So I was here twice for 2 different jobs.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Now, do you prefer one or the other, i.e. like radio or being on camera? Like, because obviously one of them, they see you, one of them they don't.
Yeah, I love both of them. And one is a little less pressure, radio. But it is kind of, in a way, a lot more work, because you're doing shorter news stories. And if you listen on the radio, like 1010 Wins, which I also did work for as well, you can hear different versions of the same story. Like every 20 minutes, you're rewriting like another version of the same story. So it's like you're writing 4 different versions up to 4 45-second versions of a story. So in a way, it's a lot more work, but in a different way. And then in TV, now I'm shooting, editing my own stuff. I'm going around with the camera like this with the tripod, turning the viewfinder backwards and seeing myself on camera. And that's all one person too. Like I'm doing so much for each job. So I enjoy both of them. I think TV is a little bit more rewarding just because there's a lot more that goes into it. But radio is just so quick and dirty. I love that. It's just like run and gun, you get something done, and you're alive on the phone right after it happens or as it's happening. TV, it's a little more like, all right, we have to get, a little more logistics. So I just like the quick and dirtiness of radio, but I also like the kind of like the visual aspect of telling a story through TV. So they have their own different things. I love both of them.
Now, as Warren had mentioned, he sees you, obviously on the news at nighttime. How does that work? Is it you just get a phone call? Like, are you set for certain hours? Or is it like, Kristie, run to the Bronx. There's a fire. Go. Like, how does that kind of go about?
That has happened so many times. As a freelancer, it's even more so like that. Normally, with a normal person, you are on a shift. We have our shifts, and like there are people who are night side reporters, and they always work at night, or they work during the day, or they kind of have like a hybrid of both. But they kind of know like what shift they're going to be working on. And usually, we don't know what we're going to be doing until we have a meeting, and then they tell us, okay, you're going to be assigned to this, this, and that. We're always knowing in the back of our head that anything could happen, and then that we could just get pivoted to something. It happened. I mean, I worked the 2 a.m. shift on Monday because I was filling in for somebody, and they just said, okay, we're going to have you stay in the studio and do a story here. Okay, great. On my way to work, I didn't even park my car yet, and they were like, all right, Kristie, we're actually going to have you go out and do this car crash. I'm like, okay, all right. So then we're getting ready for this car crash. All right, what happened? And then we are probably like maybe 15 minutes from where this accident is. And then they're like, all right, would you believe me if I told you we're pivoting you again? I'm like, yes, I do believe you. So they were like, all right, so before 4:30 a.m. for my first live hit, I got 3 different story assignments. So in that third story assignment was crazy. It was just something happened at a club, whatever. So I went outside of this club in the Bronx. And this was all within like maybe an hour or so of waking up. Like just, it's so early in the morning. So it's like, you never know. And then there are just some days you get assigned to something nice, and then you pray to God that nothing happens, nothing changes, and then you're fine. You get to do this fun story for the day. So it really could change. And as a freelancer, I get asked to do random shifts. I have my shift where I shoot and edit my own stuff. I know which days I'm doing that. But then some days there might be something crazy happening. They're like, this is too unsafe for you to go by yourself. You're going with a camera person. They at least let you know in advance. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
I want to give a quick word about what we're doing here. I have to compliment Will. I've been on a lot of these with him, but he's been doing this for a while, and he really has become, like you, Kristie, a pro at this work of communicating. Great voice, great presence. We're trying to make the SignatureCAST even better, even more popular. We're contemplating improvements to our studio and things of that sort. And I just wanted to say that and hope that we can continue to build on this. I just want to ask you, you talk about, Will made this a focus to be on business, sports, fitness, a person's journey, your journey through fitness, communications, and so forth. What do you make, though, of, to digress for a minute, what do you make of the interviewing of a politician? Apart from what we normally do, what do you find makes a good leader? What do you find makes a good interview if you're interviewing a person in a political position?
Tough question.
Yeah. Ooh. I think it's honestly just adapting to the unpredictable, just like improvising and like still shining regardless of the pressure that you're under. Because we don't write these questions in advance and give them to somebody, a leader or anybody that we're interviewing. And, we throw these questions at them and then they're ready to answer. So at least they can give a decent answer that makes them look good, and they don't, then sometimes we see those viral videos on YouTube and whatnot of people like mishandling a situation. Yeah. So we could either make or break somebody, the way they handle pressure and the way they just adapt to the randomest of circumstances. So I think improv skills are extremely important. And I learned that as a drama kid in high school. I give a lot of credit to that. We did a lot of improv, and that has changed my life.
I just want to say we really do need leaders in the business world, and we need great political leadership now for the problems that we're facing. So I'm just curious what you find as you've expressed it great. Will?
Yeah, no, I think it's a very interesting point. Right? Is unfortunately, the world has become very polarized, and we continue to look to the news media as like a hopeful outlet for truth, right? But I think you could agree that even nowadays, some medias fall one way, some fall the other. And I really liked your response in this fact that I think if we are interviewing a person of a political nature or a businessman or someone whose this interview will impact their life moving forward, it's not our job as the people asking the questions to steer the conversation, more to allow them to speak, because what they say will eventually write their story, right?
Yes.
It's like you will see through exactly what they're trying to portray or do if you just allow it to happen. I feel like a lot of nowadays, especially with the huge not resurgence, but growth of social media, it's a lot of clickbaity and I'm going to ask him this question because he's going to give me this reaction out of it, versus just, hey, let's have an open, honest discussion, right? Some sense of decorum, and now all of a sudden, if it's a quote unquote bad guy or a bad girl or a good guy or a good girl on the camera, it just comes through naturally.
Yes,
right?
it does.
It's kind of scary though. We live in a very world where everything is very like chopped up and very like there needs to be more of this.
Yes,
right?
More casual. You have to make people feel comfortable, and I think that's the soft skills of being a journalist that you can only learn so much in journalism school. You can only learn so much of that from a book. So if you make people feel comfortable, which you're doing, which is not very easy to do, especially some people are more difficult than others, you kind of have to gauge them, meet them where they are, and adapt to just how this person is. And that can make a really good interview or a really bad interview if you don't know how to make people feel comfortable. Because I'm not going to interview somebody after finishing the New York City Marathon the same way as I'm interviewing somebody who just lost their son. Sure. In a really tragic way. Yeah. So you just have to know how to gauge that.
Read the room, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to see what's going on with everybody. If I walk into an interview with like I don't know, the president of a country or whatever, you have to kind of go in there with a little bit more, proper, versus is like, oh, we're at the SignatureCAST. Come on down. We'll have a good time. But speaking of Signature, right, you said you're obviously on these new journeys. You've also been, having to pivot left and right, going here, going there. So obviously nutrition is very important, right, staying on top of your things. What are some of the fitness or nutritional things that you do to stay on track outside of the gym? Because obviously you come to the gym, you get your workout in, you go home, you go to work. How do you keep that active lifestyle outside here? Do you have any other hobbies or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm waiting for the day that a pool opens here at Signature. I know that's very hard to do. That's very hard. I understand for a 24-hour gym.
The third floor pool, Warren?
Yeah, come
gotcha.
on.
Okay.
I'm waiting for it. But I love swimming. And that's what because I truly hate running. I avoided running in high school. I ran away from running in high school with any sport. I knew I wanted to do a sport. And, someone trying to come in.
It's locked. Don't worry.
Okay.
Just keep going.
Okay. You should have like an on-air sign.
Yeah. Oh, there is.
What do you think of the swimming Olympics? Did you catch that?
Oh my God, that was amazing.
I
was out of breath just like watching.
Isn't it amazing? 100th of a second. You think about what you're talking about with a politician, making a mistake in an interview, but an athlete, and competes their whole, and then they can win or lose by 100th of a second. A tennis player in the last game of a set can work his whole life to get to a spot and can be under such pressure. Or a politician is on the verge of winning a race, is subjected to an interview, and for some reason, like a businessman can make a mistake. They go get to a point, and then once you did, how do you recover? I don't want to interrupt your. I mean, Kristie is a great. By the way, she works out on the floor. She's terrific. She works with one of our trainers, Jess. But anyway, talk about your. You continue. I always come back to this question of how do we deal with stress? How do we deal with difficulty? One of the great things about being in the fitness business is you could think about how we are all improving, how we are developing a better attitude, better fitness, and so forth. We talk about that all the time. We want to create an environment where we allow people to do that, and that's part of our work in this area on the podcast, is to bring people out and let our membership know them. Will's had podcasts that caught over 20,000 views, and we're shooting to make it even better.
Now was at like 35,000, which for us is big, right? Like that's a big deal, right?
Yeah,
what field was that in, Will?
So that was in the field of arm wrestling. So side note, I have the things I do outside of the gym. I also own my own arm wrestling production company. So maybe you can come do a story at our event in 2 weeks in Fort Lee, New Jersey.
Oh my God, I love stories like this.
We have athletes from 8 different countries. Oh, we'll talk afterwards.
It's a great.
Be there.
It's a terrific event.
Yeah. So we did, like, thankfully, because it's what was very interesting is you started out saying it used to really get into the niche sports, right? Like you were the sumo wrestling. I heard competitive eating.
Oh my God.
So I'm also into the niche sports, and so arm wrestling is a big thing. But back to what we were saying before.
Yeah.
So hobbies outside of here. You said you love swimming because you
Yes.
hate running.
Yes.
Which I also second because I hate running. Yeah, Warren is a very avid swimmer as well.
Oh, really? I love that. I did swimming in high school. I'll be honest, I didn't know how to do butterfly stroke for a while, and then it took me years after high school to finally learn and teach myself how to do that. So that's amazing. Any swimmer, I'm like, you have my salute, because I find it harder than running. So I love swimming. I also love rock climbing. That's something that has really helped me with my upper body strength. It kind of just like forces you to use it, because I always hear, like, as women we don't really have as much upper body strength. I always hear that, and that might not be true, but that's what I always believed. And I feel like this helps me really, and it helped me with my Spartan race.
Very cool.
As well. So I love skating. I like ice skating, roller. I'm learning roller skating, which is like a whole other language from rollerblading. Yes, it is. Oh my goodness, it's very difficult. Yes, we're going to ASMR it. Yes, it's very hard.
It's so hard with roller skating. Whoosh, whoosh. Don't fall over. Wear a helmet.
Yes, and knee pads. So I have some, I mean, for those watching on video, I have some scars. I have one on my elbow, some really bad ones on my knees. But you learn, you know, you live and you learn. That hasn't stopped me. It's made me a little more nervous, but I enjoy skating. Rock climbing has really changed a lot for me too. And just my strength at the gym. So I try to do a mix of everything, because I get bored. I can't just do one thing all the time. Well,
speaking of getting bored, there has to be new projects, new things. Yes. What's next for Kristie Keleshian? See, I had to get it right. I spelled it phonetically for all you guys wondering on the board. And phonetically is not even the word. I just messed up the spelling until the way would read it would sound. So Kristie Keleshian, what is up next in your life? Do you have new projects going on or anything that you're excited about?
So I will plug a very random other project I'm working on called Jerseys. And I enjoy puppetry. It's not a sport, but honestly, it can be a sport with
as in like
arms.
Like puppet or like
I like hand puppets.
Oh, okay.
Marionettes are cool.
I was thinking of the what's it called when they make it speak.
Oh, ventriloquism.
I was thinking of ventriloquism. Okay.
Oh, sometimes I'm like in my car driving and I try to practice like saying certain sentences without moving my mouth. Yeah, it's really hard.
So puppetry with like your hands.
Yes.
Very cool.
It's awesome. Yeah. So Jerseys, it's hosted by Quasi-Cado. It's my avocado puppet that I made. I have two halves of an avocado that I made, and Quasi and pseudo avocados. And I go to different diners in New Jersey. I love Jersey diners. Having grown up, I know, Warren, you're just like, what am I listening to right now? I grew up going to Jersey, diners here in New Jersey, and I'm like, they're never highlighted. I feel like just diners alone, there's diners, drive-ins, and dives. That's across the country. But how about Jersey? We're the Jersey capital, the diner capital of the world.
Oh, yeah.
So I have my puppet go around and talk to the owners of these diners. I need to make some more episodes, but it's really hard with the jobs.
I have an entire series for you. Make diners 24 hours again.
Oh my God! One of my last episodes was about a 24-hour diner, and they were saying how it's dying out.
Yeah,
so
it's the COVID. It was the COVID era. It shut. I remember, it's 3 a.m. You're either getting done from work, whatever. You were out with the boys, whatever it may be. I'm going to the diner. I'm going to give me some disco fries and a waffle.
Amen. You can get that any time of the day.
That's what makes New Jersey so great. And when they're done with that, because we're 24/7, just come work off those calories.
Exactly. 24/7. That culture is so not alive here in New Jersey anymore.
It's what we kind of live for, right? I know Warren. Now, Warren, you've obviously been a businessman for many decades, right? The work never stops, right? It's always about improving, making the family better, making the business better, and growing, right? I think that's a good way we can kind of end this wonderful podcast today, is talk a little bit about growth and how positive it is. Not just for physically, but mentally as well. How do you handle kind of more in the challenges of the day by day with businesses and employees and all that type of stuff?
Well, this is a service business. I've been in a lot of different businesses, but it is about finding a reason to be in a product, be in a business where you can find people who will go out of their way for others so that, you know, they buy things from us. And you look for an opportunity to put your skills to work. If you know how to be good to other people, then you can be and you should be in the hospitality business. And I encourage a lot of the people who work here and work in other areas that I work in to go out of their way for the other person. That's one way, in my worldview, that's one way of seeking out the divine is, what can you do for the other guy? What can you do to make life a little better for someone else in whatever area you're in? And that's what needs to keep us going. We can't just think about what is good for our own situation. We have to think about how is that other person doing? The guy sitting on the subway, the guy on the bus, the person at the bench press machine. And I encourage that of all the people who work here, is to realize that hospitality is a way of life, and we try to do that. And I think that does keep me motivated to see what can I do on the road in a busy place like New Jersey, the capital of the tough guy, capital of the tough crowd, right?
I love it.
Right?
That's perfect. Kristie, how are you trying to continue more growth in your personal life and in your business life?
Just trying to get out of my comfort zone. It's very hard to do, and I'm trying to do as many different things that enhance different parts of my life as much as possible. Like I'm also taking drum lessons. I would like to learn how to play an instrument.
Very cool.
It's amazing. I just came from my drum lesson. It's incredible. And so I'm doing that, and then I also am doing something that fulfills the soul with the jerseys, which this is actually the puppet voice that I use.
Oh my God,
I know. Sorry, I just had to throw that in.
I love it.
That's so that's like the one other part of my life that's just like, it just brings me joy. And then
Hey, let Quasi talk about that shake for a second.
yeah, okay, hold on a second. Let's try it. All right.
Is this Quasi or
Yeah, it's me. It's Quasi. Okay, hold on. I should have brought my puppet.
You should have brought the puppets.
I really should have. Oh, it's delicious. It is so sweet, and it has little pieces of dates in it. You see, I don't have teeth, but you know what? It just goes down so let me tell you. It is delicious. 10 out of 10. Keep this all year long. All right, Quasi, thanks.
I love it. So clearly getting out of your comfort zone. That is fantastic.
Oh, my God.
Oh, guys, once again, Kristie Keleshian in the house at the Signature Fitness Studios. That's another episode of the SignatureCAST where we talk bodybuilding, business, and everything between. Stay tuned because Kristie's going to be doing big things you're going to see her on a TV near you. Guys, have a good one. Warren, thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you. Wow.
And hit the red button.
Woo! And also wanted to give a shout out to Kat, by the way. That's who my trainer is. Yes.
Shout out
my
to Kat.
trainer. Yes, that's who I worked with. I met Jess, but then logistically it worked out better with Kat. So I wanted to
Beautiful.
put that out there.